Nice to see you, everyone. It is Monday night. It is November 11th. It is Veterans Day. So we do want to just take a minute for that. I know that my dad served 20 years in the Air Force. I don't see Frank on, but I know that Frank has served. Maybe pop in the chat if you or somebody that you care about has served our country. Let's see what it looks like.
My dad served in the Navy, U.S. Navy.
Awesome. Awesome. And Debbie?
I was an Army brat. My dad retired when I was in 12th grade. So
All right.
17. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So Stephanie Sweeney, Lori Pulver, very nice. Very good. Well, good. Well, we just wanted to take a few minutes to acknowledge that. We do have a full schedule tonight and really want to take time that we can workshop something that's going to be pretty cool towards the latter half. So if you would, just make sure you fill the Google form out that you are here with your camera on. We want to celebrate you. We've been having a lot of fun doing our weekly drawings and just connecting. It's awesome in just so many ways. And some of us in the Atlanta area were able to get together Friday night and coming together on these calls. It just reminds me of the power of community. And somebody who was here on Friday, I don't see her on the call yet, but she was like, you know what? Like, this is what Optavia is all about. So y'all are what make the difference for sure. So Meg, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, awesome. Thanks, Dee, and happy Veterans Day to everyone. Today is also an extra special day other than being Veterans Day because it is 11/11. And I don't know if your inbox has been blowing up like my inbox has, but apparently being 11/11, it's a extra special number in the record books, which is exciting. And it is a number that has a lot to do with manifesting. And when I think of the word manifest, lots of things come to mind. I'm thinking probably lots of things come to mind for you too. Would you put them in the chat? What do you think of when you hear the word manifest? And let's just get a good conversation going in the chat. And I want to see what all you have to say about manifesting. But if you are interested, going out on YouTube, there is a treasure trove of information on manifesting, which really is very similar to a phrase we use a lot in Optavia, which is what we focus on grows, right? Because, that phrase we hear a lot. And I love that because what we think about is a lot of times what we spend our energy on, what we see happens more and more. Let's take a little minute and let's do an example. So I want you, wherever you are right now, if you're on live or catching the recording, I'm going to have you close your eyes in just a second. And I want you to think about whatever room you're in. And I want you to think of everything you see that's the color red. Okay. So that's what we're going to look for. So close your eyes. And I want you to look and think about, with your eyes closed, think about what in your room is the color red. And just start noticing how many things can you count? Give yourself a minute. Okay, so remember that number. And with your eyes closed, I want you to think about how many things in your room are the color blue. And count that in your head. And when you're done, open your eyes. And my question to you is, do you have more red things on your mind than blue? Does anybody not have more red things than blue? No? Says Robin. I love that. So I first started talking about red, right? Before you closed your eyes, you were thinking about red. And then you went around and it was probably easy for you to think about the things in your room that were red. And then when we changed the color to blue, it was probably a little bit harder for you to think about things that were blue. So most people here, it was probably easier for you to think of things that were red than blue. And so it kind of goes to this thought that what we focus on is what grows. What we spend our energy on is what grows. So this thought of manifesting is, and I love, there's lots of good things in the chat that you've shared. You said it means growing to you. It means creating, executing, making your dreams come true. It means belief, vision, focus, more belief. Man, I love all those things. What it's not is just trusting that things are going to be great, right? Manifesting isn't just on a whim being like, oh, I'm a millionaire, right? Or, oh, I am a presidential intergalactical director, right? So we know what it's not, but what it is setting our intention of maybe it's becoming executive director or losing 10 pounds or getting a client in the month of November. It's setting that goal and then putting your belief into it that goal is going to happen, right? And what we know about our brains is our brains are so powerful. That's the way we are made, right? That when we expect things to happen, they typically do, right? So that's why, our clients, we know when we get that client and they're like, oh, I'm terrible at diets, which we're not a diet anyways, but when they're like, you know what, I'm so bad. I go on and off and on and off and on and off. And then they get on plan and what do? They go on and off and on and off and on and off. So I'm sure you, like me, are in the business of encouraging your clients to start speaking the things that they want to be true about them. So, and that's easy for me to do with my clients or easy for me to do with my friends or people in my world. But sometimes it's hard for me to do for myself, even when I know that I'm going down a direction that I don't want to go. So just want to encourage all of us, especially on this day of 11/11, that we give ourselves the gift of a new beginning. That's what 11/11 means, is new beginnings. So give yourself that gift of a new beginning and join us in manifesting one goal that you have in your life and put that belief into it. And I would just even encourage us to take a step further and share that with somebody else. Maybe it's your coach, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's your small group, but share it with somebody and don't keep it to yourself. And I know we have somebody here on the call who's experienced a lot of really good energy lately. And she's been manifesting some things that have been pretty exciting. Dee, do you want to introduce our next speaker?
Yeah, so I haven't seen this person for a while. She was, I think, kind of wrapping up. Well, I think maybe not as involved. Lori Pulver had kids going off to school and all sorts of stuff. And then lo and behold, I look in the back office. Lori's the first one to earn the 3% bonus this month. She's got 2 new clients. So Lori, I don't know if this is a good transition from what Meg has said, but something's happening with you. So I was wondering if maybe you could just share a little bit.
Sure, I would love to. Thank you, Dee. So it's exciting for me. Just like you said, I had been a little in working everything, but a little bit more in the background, I would say, just a little bit, because life was taking over with my kids, getting 2 of them ready for college and 1 down in Florida. So we were away for a while and I just wasn't in my flow. And I said that when I got back, I had this vision that this was my season of growth, that this was going to be literally my season of growth. And I think when you set up the pod groups, that was really a fuel for that. It really set everything on fire. It was something that I really needed. I think that I had said that it was something that I was looking forward to. I was looking forward to some of that accountability, meeting up with a new group for some new fresh ideas. Things get stagnant, I think, over time. And we're constantly trying to think up new ideas. And I think the group was very helpful with that. So we got very consistent with posting and being out there and working each other's posts a lot. I think that was very effective for us. So we all got a strategy together saying that, let's put out our post. Let's everybody know that we put the post out in case other group members didn't see it, and then for everybody to comment on the post. So, and we, we did it strategically so that we wouldn't all comment the same day. We would spread it out to do it that way. So I think the consistency, it's like we always say, it's the consistency is key. And really delved into the consistency. So constantly posting, being consistent with that. And one of my posts that I did actually, finally really generated some interest. And it was the post that said, "Who wants to lose weight by Thanksgiving?" It was as simple as that. And put a thumbs up in the chat. And I got 2 thumbs up in the chat. And I reached out to both of those people and got them started. So yeah, they were both really excited. And it also was a very good reminder that everybody's watching us. It was people that had been watching and had been watching and had been seeing me post about my transformation. I also did a post reintroducing myself because I hadn't been out, I hadn't done that in quite a while. And I think since I started 2 years ago, I had increased my friend volume by leaps and bounds, I would say. Really had been intentional in connecting with more people, getting, many more friends. So it was kind of like that, reintroduce myself. I put out a picture with some fun tidbits about myself and started it that way, and just was strategic as I went on during the week. And it's all been really helpful. And I attribute, again, back to our pod group. It's been super effective. And if anybody is thinking about doing it, hasn't joined a group, I would highly recommend it, because it's just really what gets us going. So I think
That's good, Lori. There are a lot of nuggets there. I hope you guys wrote down, right? Like she got back to consistency of posting. She reintroduced herself. She posed an opportunity. Who wants to, with a time frame, like who wouldn't want to lose weight before Thanksgiving? So that's exciting. I don't know if you've seen Julie Apple Walker's face. She's just been beaming at you. It's so awesome. But so do you feel like anything, like kind of like what Meg was saying, do you feel like anything shifted within you in terms of, it sounds like your priorities shifted some, but was there anything that shifted in terms of belief, excitement? Like you can go out and do these actions, but it's what's the energy behind it. So
Yes.
can you tell us anything about that?
I would definitely say it was a shift in belief. It was a shift in refocus and believing that this can happen. It was, re-looking back at what my why was and why I wanted this to happen, why I wanted to help more people, and how I was going to make that happen, and being really excited about making that happen. I think it's that level of excitement. And it is, I find that I get so fueled up and so fired up by coming up with my creative posts and being out there. And the more I do it, the more it fires me up. So it's so true that the consistency just really helps it. I find that if I'm not consistent, then I fall off my trail a little bit. I really do. And I think I really need that consistency. It really helps me personally to continue with that belief. And we've got a lot of exciting things going on. I've been very intentional in trying to be present in as many of the calls as I can. I was on one of the ED calls. If I could fit it in during my workday, I really try to do that. And it's exciting to hear about all of the, the new programs that are coming our way. So I think all of these things just really continue to fuel the fire. And it's just, I said to Julie, I think I texted Julie that I feel like my fire is just fueling up here and really excited about it.
That is beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I hope you're seeing the positive feedback in the comments. It's very, very relatable. So a while back, what she's referring to, if you weren't on the call before, maybe you didn't sign up, was that we know of there was at least one peer mentoring group that was going on within our teams, like a group of people that came together that said, hey, I want to connect. I want to hold each other accountable, et cetera, health-wise, business-wise, et cetera. So we posed the opportunity, and you could fill out a Google form if you were interested. Those that responded have now been put into a group, and we've had several of them speak where they're feeling a shift in energy and seeing that shift in their business. So if that's something you're interested in, and you're not part of a group, maybe reach to Meg or I. There's no pressure. All of this is always voluntary, but if you're like, maybe that might be something we could see, there might be somebody else that's having the same feeling, and maybe it would be beneficial for you. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So what I want to talk about next is, it may not be revolutionary, but it was something like a light bulb went on for me, and just hearing somebody else speak something, and I put it into place right away in 2 different ways, and it was effective. And so I wanted to share with you guys. And it really has to do with how do we present ourselves, and how do we attract people so that they actually understand what we do and actually have a belief that their future could be different. Because that's what's very important, is somebody catching a glimpse of what could be different for them. And so I'm part of a BNI, business networking group, and I happen to be president of this chapter. So I know all the members, but then every week somebody has the opportunity to do a 10-minute presentation. And so this past week was somebody who is in social media marketing. So he does social media. It's called Ghost Partner. He like comes behind you, gets to know your business, and helps you with your social media strategy, your website, and how to deliver and how to talk to people about what you do. So he had sent his PowerPoint in advance so I could incorporate it into the whole thing. So I read it and I was like, ooh, that's good. And I actually took the tips and applied them to my 60-second presentation about what I did, what it is that I do as a health coach. And I'll fill you in on that in a second. But basically what he was saying is that people only have limited capacity in their brain, right? Like, and so they're either like looking to absorb it, there's got to be a reason to absorb it, or it just gets dumped. And so he said, certain things that, like, if he said, hey, I'm Howard Flint, I'm with Ghost Partner, I do social media marketing, email campaigns and whatever, people are like, oh, and he called them like those were bowling balls that you give people, and then they just dump them and they move on with their day. Because if in their mind, they're not thinking they need email marketing or they can't afford it, or if they're thinking, whatever, they're not going to go for it. So he kind of referred it to like, whether you're doing the way he drives a website, the way he drives social media for people, the way he has people to share about their business, or he does, is in this 3-step approach for problem solving. So let me share my screen real quick. And it's very simple. Can you guys see this okay? Maybe I lost you for a second. Yes, perfect. All right, so it's really just 3 simple steps, you guys, of first stating the problem. So what is a problem that you solve? And we're going to workshop this in just a few minutes. So stating the problem, and then talking about your solution, how you solve that problem, and then talk about the result that they will experience. So this can be done in 2 ways. It can be done in terms of when you meet somebody and somebody says like, hey, Meg, what is it? What do you do? Right? Instead of saying, oh, I'm a health coach, I'm with Optavia, whatever, she could describe it differently. And we'll talk about that. So what he described for his business, right? Rather than saying, hey, I'm Howard Flint, I'm with Ghost Partner and I do XYZ. What he said is this, like what he would say to somebody is, most companies waste money on email marketing, or they don't even try. He says, what we do is we help you get clear on your messaging and consistent on your execution. The result is you retain and upsell your current clients, and you acquire more new clients. My name is Howard Flint and my company is Ghost Marketing. So like if he was doing a presentation at a networking event or whatever, you could massage that right into something else. So so in my meeting that day, as far as stating the problem, talking about the solution, and then the result they would experience, what I did was you have 60 seconds to describe what you do. So what I said was, hey, my name is Dee Korchin. I'm a certified health coach. And most people this time of year think about the holidays and they start to think about all the obstacles that they're going to entail. And it seems too challenging to make a decision at this point to move forward with their health. And I gave an example. I said, I have a client named Julia. She called me. She's done great on program. She was struggling with whether or not to continue through the holidays, through November, because she had a birthday. She had company coming in town. We worked through that. We counted up how many days she had, how she could navigate that. And the end result is we determined that she would have 24 days that she could move forward in her health rather than a 30-day hold, right? So there's 34 people in the room or whatever. Howard had not even done his presentation yet. And we have a winner every week for 60-second presentation. And I won. Now, nobody knew that Howard was going to talk about that. And I'm not bragging on that, but I had never spoke about my business that way, and not so clearly like most people think this is what I do, and this is the end result. So then I came home, and I'm like, cause you know me, it was like 0 to 60 if I get an idea. And so I did a Facebook post, and it was just a before and after. I'm doing a lot more before and after post. The picture is significant. But what I would have said, let me stop this for a second. What I would have said is, health is possible at any age. Let's celebrate Joanne feeling great at age 60 or 70, whatever she is. And I don't even think her name is Joanne, right? So what I did instead was I took that same approach and see if I can get it over here. Hold on for a second. Trying to move it. Oh, shoot. Trying to show it. Did you guys see it? Could you see that post? No, it was too little. I'm trying to just, I need some Meg help here. Trying to figure out how to get it over onto the screen. I'm just learning my technology, friends. Bear with me. I can't get it to go big.
Dee, I
Well,
have it on
shoot.
my screen. Do you want me
Oh,
to?
thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you share it?
Can y'all see?
Hopefully you guys can see that. So I said, a common fear is that we are just too old, or it's too late to change our habits or our life. I come alongside you with a proven program and a path for success. You begin to see what's possible and you feel hopeful again. The end result is not only the weight loss you want, but more importantly, feeling amazing and in much better health, no matter what your age. Please help me celebrate Jane, age 70. And Meg, can you scroll down how many likes that got?
Mhm.
29 likes. I have never, I mean, it's been a long time, unless it was a personal post of my abs from 2018 that got any kind of response like that. So to me, that showed that, you know, and it was like, I come alongside you, I do this. So does that make sense? And like, you could go to my page and screenshot that. I just did another one today. It did get 3 responses right away. I did a menopausal woman. But the one key thing I want to say in that middle section, when he talked about the problem that you solve, he said, what you want to do, whether you're verbally in contact with somebody or it's through another medium, right? Like our social media or a website, is he said, people need to feel hope and possibility, and that their future could be different. Right. So we can say like, and so I just was thinking about the way I was doing it before, probably wasn't, might be why it wasn't getting as big of a response. So thoughts or comments on that before we kind of move into the next part? Questions?
It's super quick. I just really also appreciate that it's relatively short, because I don't think people get into the long
Mhm.
reads.
100%.
Mhm.
100%. That's the other thing I've realized is, and if you've noticed, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I do a lot of spacing in my post, and I try to keep them, because, you know, there was a day people would read your diary, but they don't want it. They don't want it now. I don't think so. Okay. So, actually, Meg, I think I'll have you pull up a document. So what I thought we could do for a couple minutes together, and then we'll share it, is let's just talk about as a group, and you guys can come off mute and just kind of let's brainstorm. So what problems do we solve as Optavia coaches? It could be the program or the business opportunity. Or maybe we need to separate it, but
Well, the obvious one is we help them lose weight.
okay. What else?
I did a health assessment last week with a guy that was like, I never even really learned like, what's a protein and what's a carb and so he didn't even have information regarding nutrition. So we empower inform, educate, whatever.
That's good.
We have
I
clients regain
still have to
confidence.
keep coming back to,
Amanda, go ahead.
sorry, I keep coming back to before I started this program, I had no hope that anything could ever be different, that my life, that I've changed.
Mm.
And now I have hope.
So we restore hope. Yeah. In the comments, Meg, there's, we regain confidence. We help mamas regain confidence after childbirth. We help people get unstuck.
And if I can throw this in there, on page 167 of the Habits of Health, they list 5, 10, 15, 23 things like help you live longer, improve the quality of your life, slow down the aging process, give you more energy and vitality, all the way down to all of those, including increase your chances of becoming pregnant. And I actually just created a whole week's posts of that I was going to start on Sunday and forgot. And so I'm going to start it next Sunday because I do want it to run the whole week. But you guys, you just gave me, Dee, such a great thing to do to find before and afters that fit into the categories I'm talking about and include those with it.
So that was page 167.
Page 167 in the Habits of Health.
Okay. And this is so interesting, and there's no criticism. What I'm seeing in the comments is we're also giving some solutions, right? Like I'm seeing saying like we give non-judgmental coaching. We help people get, we provide a path for sustainable success. We have a ripple effect, right? So what we could think about is we're just going to brain dump with the time, but I would think as you're describing this to somebody else that you do it, my suggestion would be to describe the problem that needs that solution, right? So if we provide a sustainable path for success, then my post might start out with, so many of us are so tired of trying and failing, to gain health or whatever you want to do. But so something that somebody could read and relate. And then, you know what I mean? What you do, we provide the path through non-judgmental coaching, coming alongside you, helping you take it one step at a time, however you want to phrase something that somebody could relate to. And then what the ultimate effect is. So
See,
you remain.
That's such a great point. And I didn't even notice that until you said that. But we basically came up with all of our solutions because we are manifesting them for all of our
Love that.
clients. But I think we should go through these and go through what the actual problem is, because it's not that we help people sleep better. The problem is people sleep poorly and they lack energy.
Perfect. So help people lose weight. So we could even back that up, right? Like feel uncomfortable in their own skin, joint pain, health issues. Confused and don't know what way to go with their nutrition and health. Confused and frustrated, maybe. Does somebody want to jump in? How could you pose the confidence thing as a problem?
They're very self-confident about how they look.
They are not confident about how
Unsure.
they look?
They're very insecure.
Yes. And yes, we fully plan to share this document.
And self-conscious. I think people are self-conscious sometimes, especially in certain situations. Maybe describe a situation of in a, if you're someone, a lot of people are, a part of a group of leaders, and they're in a boardroom type situation. And I've had a client tell me one time she was the largest person in that room, and she felt like other people were probably looking at her thinking, why can't you control your weight when you do so well with these other things? And so that's another
So in
aspect.
their head, right?
Mhm.
Like you can't even
Yeah,
be present.
that was what her, that's what she was saying in her head. That's what she assumed people were thinking.
Right.
Also, if you have a before picture of yourself, to be able to post that and ask if anybody else has one of those pictures that you walked out of the house thinking you look pretty good. And then someone took a picture and shared it with you, and
Mhm.
how
Like,
that
did you
made
ever
you
immediately
feel.
untag yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. You
Yeah.
know, how many times have you sat on a sofa and put a pillow in your lap?
Right.
Oh.
Mhm,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Stood in the back with pictures.
Yep.
Right.
the-
Stood
the
behind your
floating
kids.
head.
Right.
You could do a whole series of those, like one a month, and nobody would notice you were repeating the theme.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So is this, we're going to run short on time. Is this making sense, you guys? And
Yeah.
so like you would have the problem that you solve. And then the solution, all right, is always going to have to come back to about how you come alongside somebody. And maybe what is it that you provide, right? That, right, I provide the non-judgmental support. I provide a clear, like whatever it was, I said, a clear, easy to follow plan, what else could we say? And then when you're talking about the results they would experience, that's the picture you're going to help people see, right? So that you can be in a room and be fully present and listening and not have the noise in your head about what other people might be thinking, right? Something that somebody sees like, wow, my life could actually change as a result of this.
That's awesome.
If you guys can come to Time for You, I know some of you guys work during the day, but if you can come to Time for You on Thursday at 12:30, that's our open forum. I could bring this document and we could, work on it, maybe even write a few out, like what would maybe some 60 seconds on like, how would you introduce yourself at a party? What would be some things you could say on the spot without sounding like you're trying to sell them on it, but so somebody can get a clear picture of what it is that you do as a coach. Good. Okay, Meg, you still there? Can you take that down? I think we have to do our drawing and hop over to the other. God, look at that. You got it ready to roll. All right, let's see. Oh, Stephanie Sweeney is our winner today. Congratulations. Yay. Good, good, good. All right. Well, thank you, Meg, for, just with what you opened with today, shifting our mindset around that. And really just for me, that gave me hope, right? Like I can actually change my thoughts. Lori giving us such great feedback on what's happening in her world, and then for your active participation in this. The next up is our community call. It is about after. Brian Jollinger is going to be leading. And I think that's something I'm really going to I'm working on is sharing from that perspective as well with people. So this might help you in your creative process. So I will give a link to that doc when I post this recording as well. So glad you guys found it helpful. Hang with me for just a second. Taking me a minute here.
for me, definitely those days, but those are simpler times, you know? And I look at Optavia and what Optavia brings to the table. I've been doing this for 23 years. And that's why
That's
I look
amazing.
so young. That's why I look so young.
You must have been like 5 when you started, Brian.
Exactly. But I look at Optavia as in the future, it's still going to be cool. Like 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, because the things that we offer to people stand the test of time.
Mhm.
They really do. You know, we offer better health. We offer that community. We offer all these different components that people actually need in their lives. And we're gonna have some great testimonials tonight too.
Yeah. And what I love about it is, honestly, when we talk about going back to the 80s, I do feel like I'm aging backwards. So my personal story is last year, lost 80 pounds. I thought that was my goal. Which is amazing. But I think one of the components you talked about, we have the coaching element. We have the nutrition that we have, which is amazing with the fuelings. We have the app with the lean and green meals. We have the community. We have the life book and the habits of health book. There's so many components to this. And I think what I didn't realize before when I started, I think most people do, is we think it's a diet. We have diet mentality. Put a 1 in the chat if you thought it was a diet. But what I realized very quickly is that we are retraining our brain. And that is something that we're going to be talking about now, how we retrain our brain and how connecting with this community and the coaches really make a difference. So we show up, there's win calls, there's this community time that we have time with our coaches. We have Facebook groups. When we show up, we are actually retraining our brain. So that is our curriculum. Like, back in the day, we had reading, writing, and arithmetic, or all those types of things that we had. Social studies when we were in high school. And our curriculum is all of it. It's not just the fuelings. It is showing up over and over again. And when we connect with the community, we get an easy A because we're retraining. So a lot of people don't know that we have a chance to rewire how we think. So I remember before I started this, I didn't have time to get healthy. We have 10 children, which they take a lot of time. And I was just stuck in it's almost like a dirt bike, stuck in that path going around and around again. And it took me showing up to community that broke me out of that. And I had a new way of thinking. So the more you show up, the more you hear people sharing their stories and that this is possible. We learn to stop, challenge, and choose. Our brains change. So Brian, how did your mindset change over the years?
Well, I think over like 23 years ago when I got involved, we didn't have a lot of those things you mentioned. We did have a little bit of a community. There's only like probably a few hundred of us involved at that time. You know, now we have like tens of thousands that get involved and more than that. But I think for me, it was initially, yes, losing weight was good, but it was understanding the right kind of weight. Like, what are you losing? Like with this, you're losing the fat if you do it right. And we don't want to lose muscle. We want to build muscle. So like it took me actually about 15, 16 years, maybe 17 actually, before I really started getting into lifting weights and actually building muscle. It took me a long time because I really didn't like to work out. But that's what I love about this community. If you get involved in the community, you see all these people that are getting healthier around you, and it rubs off on you. Mm-hmm. And so the mindset really is the piece, I think, that is a continual thing. You know, when you get the books and you get, like, we have a Habit Finder Health, we have assessments, we have different things that you can use, and we have different classes like this one and others throughout the week. When you get all these things, I mean, when you get plugged in, you can get plugged in for life with this. I mean, this is not just a one-time thing. And honestly, like, that is the key to success, is staying plugged in, staying engaged, referring other people into the program too. Sometimes it's becoming a coach, you know, because honestly, like, I feel like if I hadn't been connected with this community and all the things I've done over the past 23 years, that I would definitely not be in the shape I'm in today. Right. I mean,
you would not be fitting in that jacket.
I would not fit in this jacket. Yes.
You would not feel like you're back in the 80s as a teenager with all the
No.
energy and yeah.
Right. Exactly. So no, and all these things that we have, I mean, with the win calls, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I mean, those things are important. You know, just put a 2 in the chat if this community is like everything
Mhm.
to you, as far as like, I mean, just like, honestly, like all the tools that we have are great. The fuelings are great. The books, everything we have, but without this community and without other people doing this and having fun with it, would you be involved, and would you be involved so long with it? Like, there's a lot of people that have like gotten healthy and stayed healthy for like so many years, but it's because they've stayed plugged in. Because I see when people like, they get disengaged and they go to their, you know, do things with, you know, like go back to their old habits, they start gaining weight back. You know, that's because they're going back to their old habits. That's why the community is so important.
I love that. Okay, did you ever doodle when you were taking notes in high school? Draw little
Okay.
pictures?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I drew. And it says, if you eat what you've always eaten, you will weigh what you always weigh. So if you just treat it like a diet and then you just go back to the way it was before, you're going to end up the way, but showing up in the community. And I remember being on the calls and seeing someone, they're going for a walk. They're and I'm like, I could do that. I could fit in a walk. And so I love the community, and I'm so excited that our guests are going to be sharing what it means to them to connect with the community, to connect with the coach, and then we're going to see the difference that it's made in their lives too.
No, that's awesome. And we're gonna do, so we got Jennifer. We have Jennifer come out right now. Oh, can you hear me?
Hi,
Okay.
how are you guys? Yep.
All right, there's Jennifer. So Jennifer, you're a client
Yes.
of Jan, and
Yes.
and you have done a lot on these win calls. So tell us a little bit about how that's helped you, and how long have you been doing the win calls for?
I started with Optavia July 18th, I believe it was.
Okay.
And I have missed, I think, 2 the whole time because of things beyond my control. But I take notes every win call and every one of these meetings. I am there for it because I actually even take notes of other people's wins. And on the days that there aren't win calls, I go back and read them because it helps me to remember, okay, I can do this. Everyone else is doing this. I can do this too. I have gone through just about every weight loss program there is in my life. And this is the first one that has not been a weight loss program. It's a complete life change for me. And I keep hearing other people that are just like me talking about what their wins are and what they're doing and what they're overcoming because of this program. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. These are normal people. These aren't like super people that are doing this. These are normal people like me, and we can do this. So to me, missing a win call, and Sundays are horrible because there isn't a win call. So I have to go back and read my notes, which is great.
I love
So
that.
tell us what the win. So before you started this in July, tell us where you were with your health and where you are now.
Oh boy. Okay, so I needed to have a knee replacement. And the doctor took one look and he says, you have the knees of an 80-year-old woman and you need this knee replacement. And I said, great, let's do it. And he said, I can't. You need to lose some weight before I'll do it, or you will not recover well. And I'm like, okay. And he said, here, let me give you this card. And he handed me a card from Jan about Optavia. And I called her and I said, I've got to have this surgery. I've got to lose 10 pounds. And she said, okay, but this isn't a weight loss program. And I'm like, oh, okay. She says, no, this is going to change your whole life. And it has. I have released 40 pounds since then. And I have been able to stay on plan the entire time. And the majority of that is because of the win calls. because every morning I know I'm going to talk to or hear people sharing their wins, or I'm going to share a win. And then every night, same thing. There's a win to share, or someone's sharing a win. And every single one of them makes a difference to me, because I'm hearing about people that have gone through some of the same stuff I have had other things happen that it's made it hard for them to lose weight. And I'm like, okay, we can do this together. We can all do it together, because it's hard to do on your own. I mean, it's been done, but
You know what, Jennifer, it actually is like it. If you think about it long term, it is hard to do on your own.
yes.
That's why I think everyone needs a community like this to help them with the long-term goals and to stay engaged. And like, I love that you said about the wins, about other people's wins. You could say, well, if they can do it, I can do it. You're probably thinking that, and you're like,
Yeah.
it gave you hope, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's one thing to have your coach, which is great because they support you in every way, shape, and form. But then you've got other people that are going through the program as well, and they're having some of the same hard situations come up, some of the same things tempting them.
Yeah.
My son's getting married next May, and I've got to go to his wedding, and I've got to tell him I'm not eating the cake. I'm not going to do it. But I found out that someone in his fiance's family is also doing Optavia, and she contacted me and said, okay, we're in this together, we got it.
I love it.
that.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Jennifer, for being on. And I'm sure your encouragement encouraged others to get on those win calls.
I hope so, because honestly, it will change your life. It really will. It's changed mine.
Yeah.
Love
And
it.
I love
Thank
that
you
you
so
take
much.
those notes, taking the notes. What a great idea. Because I'm always encouraged. And then the next day I'm like, what did she say? Or what did he say?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just can't write fast enough.
That is great. Well, so, when we were in high school, we had to take notes. That's how you got A's, right? So you were
Yes.
acing the test.
Exactly. Yep.
I don't know. Some of us got A's.
Oh, yeah. Oh. But okay, this is the fun thing too. So they're putting the number for the one call in the chat, but it's 365, like 365 days, but it's 8675309.
Yeah, 80s. We're going back to
80s.
the 80s.
8675309. So now if you're like, I didn't write that down.
So simple to remember, right?
So simple to remember.
365. And the
I
number.
love that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for being on tonight.
Thank you.
Oh, it's just so encouraging, Brian, to hear these people and showing up and building community. And what I love, what she said is we and together. Over and over again, she kept saying we and together we can do this, and we show up and we hear each other's stories. And the stories is what it's all about. There's a lot of information out there. We can put in a search engine and get all kinds of information, but seeing other people showing up and knowing that we are doing this together really makes a big difference. So I'm excited to introduce one of my clients, Tara. So Tara was one of the first people that I reached out to, but I'm gonna let her tell her story. So welcome, Tara, and just tell us a little bit about your journey.
Thank you so much, Trisha and Brian and everybody listening. Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and it's taken a lot of hills and valleys, but I did Optavia years ago when I was just needing to lose a little bit of weight, and it worked fantastic, and I got the weight off, and I didn't have the mindset that it was going to change. I was viewing it as a diet program. So I got off of it and honestly forgot about it for years. Well, time went by. Over time, I met Trisha. We're writers in the same community, have the same literary agent. And during that time, I had been diagnosed with gastroparesis. That just means paralysis of the stomach. My stomach wasn't pumping. There wasn't much food I could eat. And people assume that when you have gastroparesis, you're going to be a stick and a twig. And that does happen for some people. But for a lot of us, you gain weight because your body is holding on to every single calorie, because it never knows when you're going to eat again, right? So, and I was going through premenopausal stuff and stressful things. So, that cortisol, everything just started compacting on, and I felt miserable. And Trisha was doing Optavia. You were right at the beginning of your journey, I think, weren't you, Trisha?
I was inviting you. I was still maybe 15 pounds down.
Yes.
65, 70 pounds to go. And I'm like, come on, Tara.
It's right. And I was like, oh, I've done that before. Yeah, it's great. But you know, the gastroparesis makes it so hard for me to eat because I had granola bars and protein and all these different things that just made me super sick. And, but I thought, you know, it is nutritionally good. So I'm going to get a little bit and just do what I can as I go. And I wasn't super committed, but it was like, I'll do it halfway. Well, I began noticing over time that I was starting to feel better and the weight was slipping off, but that wasn't really the big thing for me. So I felt so much better. And I discovered the Optavia food was the only food that did not hurt my stomach. And I was like, this is kind of wild. So I pulled out my Habits of Health book and began rereading and going through basically the program the way I should have done from the beginning already. And guys, it's been crazy because I have now been off of all my gastroparesis medication for over 2 months now, which they told me would never be possible. My body loves the nutrition, it loves the portions, and it keeps my blood sugar just nice and level. And then along with that, as I'm getting healthier, my husband was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And he's been one of these people that is always, he eats his feelings, you know, he's very up and down with his weight. And so I told him, I said, you know, Trisha's about got me talked into doing this coaching thing, which by the way, I am loving. And he was like, I don't know. And I said, well, just try one of the fuelings, see what you think. And he's like, if it's like most diet food, you know, it's not going to taste good to me. He had his first fueling and loved it. He was like, these are really good. And so now every time his diabetes nurse calls and checks in on him, he was like, yeah, I'm having Optavia and I feel really good. I'm not craving the ice cream that he used to have at night and all these other things. So I'm seeing it make a change not only in me drastically, but it's affecting others. And I've discovered by coaching, just for me, that it really keeps me accountable and I wake up really excited instead of feeling like I'll just do the best I can for the day. I'm like, no, it's more than just me. There's other people counting on me to give it my best.
Yeah. Yeah, what I love, Tara, about your story is, you know, you're like, well, I'll try it again, you know, and then I would check in a month later and I kept checking on you. And so I think sometimes there are those people that are just going to jump in and right from the beginning are going to be completely committed. They're going to do exactly the 5 fuelings, the 1 lean ingredient if they're doing the 5-in-1, and they're just going to go. But I think not everyone's like that. You know, I tried it in 2018, tried a couple bars. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like my mindset wasn't there. And so if maybe someone here is taking a little bit longer for their mindset, connect with your coach, connect with the community. Your mindset can change and grow. Just like, you know, at first you're like, I'll kind of do it. But then you're like, wait, this is kind of working. And the more you try it, the more commitment came when, you know, we continued to connect. Then you got on some win calls. You got out your life book and your Habits of Health book. So I think, I mean, put a 3 in the chat if it's been a slow burn. If you've also been a slow burn, because I think sometimes we feel like something's wrong with me. I didn't from day one just go full and like, you know, someone started and they're at every call. I love Jennifer. I love that, Jen, that you did that. But sometimes people are slow burn. I think I wanted to bring that on too, that sometimes, you know, there's those people that love to be in community, love to connect with a lot of other people immediately. And there's some like, we'll warm up to it. And so I love that, Tara. So now you're passing it on. And, you know, we had you and your husband over for dinner. So we could just kind of see what's possible.
Right.
What was that conversation after like you and Todd left when he could see the changes in us and the possibilities?
Well, it was really funny because he went into it. He said, is Trisha going to talk about Optavia? And of course, I knew we were because we'd already talked about it, you know, behind the scenes. I said, I don't know, maybe. And of course, we got on the subject because I was telling Trisha's husband, he looked so good. He looked so happy and healthy. And I hate to use the word shiny, but he's just glowing, you know. And so he just naturally began talking about the change. And then he and my husband began chatting very similar stories in their health and the way it was declining. And we left, we were driving home and my husband said, I really like Trisha and John. I said, yeah, they're good people. They're good folks. And he said, and you know, I think if somebody like John who had the same thing as me could do it, maybe I should. I don't know. He said, I'll try a few of your things and see how his idea was, I'm going to see how bad I hate it. And I said, okay. And I didn't press, I didn't push. And after the first one, he said, this is really good. And now he has them every night. He has them in the afternoon when he needs to keep his blood sugar level. It's going great. And it's funny. I talked with a client just before we got on here, Trisha, and she was so funny. She just got her first order of food in. And I asked her, I said, okay, girl, how's it going? Have you started? What are your thoughts? She said, I'm circling my box like a vulture waiting to descend. But she said, something is holding me back. And I said, well, what is holding you back? What do you think it could be? I mean, it's probably fear-based, right? That's usually what holds us back from anything that we know has the potential to change us for the better. But I said, so what do you think's holding you back? She said, well, what if I mess up? What if I eat a piece of fruit? She said, I love fruit. I crave it. I crave that, just that natural sugar. And I know it's not going to help. I said, girl, you're going to mess up. We all mess up from time to time. I said, if you mess up, no big deal, pick up and keep going. Because I said the goal is not to be perfect. It's imperfect progress in the right direction. And that's something, I can attest to because it was a slow burn for me because with my health issues, I didn't want to upset the apple cart any more than it already was, but and she said, okay, she took a deep breath. She's texting me, deep breath. I'm going to start tomorrow. And I was like, awesome. So, it's imperfect progress moving in the right direction. And then you look back and see how far you've come. And it's an amazing, wonderful thing.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Tara. And I love that, you didn't just say no. You're like, well, let me try it. And then you warmed up and then you kept going.
Yes.
And Brian, I met over the 23 years, you've just seen people that have also had that warm up period, right?
Oh yeah, like some people, it's like years of warm up. So I mean, it honestly, like what you said, Tara, is so critical. It's not about being perfect. It's about taking the steps. My business partner, Dave Blanchard, talks about millimeters, doing just a little bit at a time, and staying connected, staying engaged, doing the do. And if you screw up, so what? Get back on and do it again.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I always tell people, this is kind of how I look at it. When people are, let's say they mess up, let's say they do something, they have a piece of pizza or something. They did something, and I'll ask them, so what did you do the rest of the day? This is like the win call. Like, it's like, what do you, what's your win for the rest of the day? Well, I stayed on plan. I did all these things. I said, well, then you just learn maintenance for the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You just learn maintenance. Because the key to the success of this program is eating small meals during the day, right? We know this, 6 times a day. What happens when you eat 6 times a day? You don't eat as much in that one meal. That's what happens. So what if you had some things that weren't on plan? Okay, did you do better today than you did before you started the plan? And how are you going to look at it going forward? Are you drinking your water? You're doing the things you need to do. So it's those who cares about the little mistakes you make along the way? Now, I'm not saying go make a mistake. I'm just saying that it is life, and you're going to, and this is a personal development course. It really is. If you look at it with all the calls we have every week, all the support, all the things that you're doing. And by the way, you pay nothing for that.
Mm-hmm.
You pay nothing for a lifelong personal development course. How great is that? And the only thing you're paying for is the food, and you're already paying for that anyway. So you look at this and what it has to offer, all the components, and it's just amazing what this can do for your life, the long term. And it is staying connected with people. It is staying actually like being authentic, being real, being there. That's what people want. And we all make mistakes.
And the ripple effect is amazing because I reached out to Tara and now her husband's on it. And now Tara's a coach and she just started. She already has clients that I talked to this person. I said this, I'm like, you are doing awesome. Like, it's a good mindset is contagious, but we have to be around people. Cause in high school, they had the popular crowd and then the chess club and then the smokers maybe, but you become more of who you hang around, right? And whoever you're hanging around, whoever, it's either gonna be good influences or bad influences, but when we keep showing up and we're bringing this good influence in our lives, it makes a big difference and our mindset changes. And then we can fit back in our clothes from the 80s.
There you go.
Which is not bad. Thank you, Tara, so
Thank you,
much
You're so
Tara.
welcome. Thank you.
for sharing your story. I
Awesome.
mean,
And thank you, Jennifer, also
Yeah.
for sharing
of
your
them.
story.
yeah.
Love both of them. So no. So we got a little bit of what is coming up next week.
Yep. So we're gonna share this. Oh, let me see. Does that work? Share. Okay. There we go. The right one. We're gonna go there.
There we go,
See,
right
I'm
there.
learning technology. Even back in the 80s, I'm learning technology. So next week we're gonna be talking about thankfulness and just being thankful for health. I'm thankful for health, and I can't wait to hear. We're gonna be, leading up to Thanksgiving. Who can believe we're already there? But next week we're gonna be talking about thankful for health, and all the podcast recordings. You can find all the episodes, which I almost every day go back and listen to old recordings. I love hearing them. They're so encouraging.
Well, this one's going to be fun for me because I've never done this before. And actually, I couldn't. It's funny because we're talking to everybody, and I couldn't take. I was. It was hard for me to take myself seriously with this. Anyway, that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, you're the one that texted and said we should do something fun.
I know, but you're the one that said, let's go back to the 80s.
Let's go back to the 80s.
And when I told my wife that, she's like, yeah, we're going to go back to the 80s. All right. I even tried on a Michael Jackson jacket. I was going to wear that.
Do you have it there? You should show us.
I don't have it.
Oh, bummer.
I did buy one.
Well,
Anyway.
thank you everyone
right.
for being here.
Yes. Thanks everyone for being on our call this week, and definitely join us next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
All right. Would love to hear your feedback.
Brian's crazy.
He is. He is. But you know what I love about him? Did you hear him at the end when he was like, like his enthusiasm and energy, like you get a personal development class for, program for life. You get this, you get that.
I
All
wrote
you're
that
paying for is
down.
food.
Lifelong personal development course, and you pay nothing for that. All you pay for is the food, and you're already paying for food. I wrote it down. So good.
So good. So good. And then Beth, you said you forgot about the win calls, right?
Totally and completely forgot about them. And I
Yeah.
can't believe he listens twice a day.
I know. And they get a lot of people on them, hundreds on them.
I listened to a couple and guess I should go back and start listening again.
Yeah, and encouraging our clients. Like if you have somebody I do know some clients that get on a couple times a week on them. And so if you have that, somebody who's struggling, that's another resource other than saying, hey, what about the Monday night call or
Right.
whatnot?
Yeah, one of my clients loves those win calls, and she does them almost every morning. She does the morning one, and she'll tell me, oh yeah, when we're having our coaching call, she'll say, oh yeah, we talked about that. They talked about that on the win call, so
That's good.
she loves it.
I think so much if we can, encourage people, it's a way to connect in community, whatever. It's a way for them to learn from somebody else. And I just think anytime there's something that's bigger than us, you hear it from a different perspective, kind of like, I think everybody's a coach on here. Like we talked about in the thing, like that was not revolutionary what I shared, but the way it was delivered, like ding, light bulb went off. Yeah.
I think the community piece and the reminder of community, about plugging into the community.
Yeah. And I think that's the piece that so many of us as humans, we're so busy, right? It's what we crave and desire probably most in this world is to feel a part of something, connected. And we know it from the coach perspective, but I think it's anything we can do to support our clients to plug in, because so often they're used to dieting in the dark, doing it on their own, they don't want involvement, but we know that that's the change.
You know, and I think that they think that that's okay. That's okay. I just was literally having a conversation, a text conversation back and forth with one of my new clients just before this call about encouraging them to come on the community call and how important it is. And I'm just getting the sense that, you know, we just want to diet and move, you know, the quick fix. And I'm like, well, it's more than that. This program is so much more than that. And that's the value of that, you know, and getting them to understand that. So,
And that might be something when you have like your next verbal conversation, you know, I think we've always got to put it in perspective of what's in it for them. And because I've had people actually apologize to me, like, I'm sorry, I didn't get my, you know, I'm like, this is not about me, you know, like, you know, but what could be is like, as you're, especially in the early stages is, you know, let's say that person's name is Jane, like, you know, hey, Jane, I've got a good question. How important is it going to be to you to actually get to your goal and keep it off this time? You know, and then to say, you know, Optavia has been offered before as a standalone diet. What we've known is people's, you know, success doubles, triples, quadruples when they are involved with these other components. So as your coach, I'm going to keep pointing to you just what's proven that works. So it's just a matter of like, you can still choose, but this is a consequence if you don't versus.
That's much better than the way that I say it.
What do you say, Timberlake?
Yeah, because I've been saying like on the first call, like I'll tell them, okay, now, and I'll describe all the components of it, and I'll say, now look, you know, you can, if you treat this like a diet and you just do the nutrition part of the program, you will gain your weight back. It'll just be another diet. But in order for, you know, for it to be sustainable, like I've talked about, like, you know, they see it on social media, then you want to tap into these other things too. And I'll just have to tell you, people are not as successful. And I'm interested in working with people. Basically, put it like this. I'm interested in working with people who want to do the full program. If you're just looking for a quickie diet and you just want to lose, you know, a few pounds before this, whatever, I can help you do that. But I'm really here for the long haul, for people to really learn how to move to a healthy lifestyle. That's what I'm really looking for, is people that are interested in that. You know, basically telling them, I'm looking for this type of person to work with. Are you that person? Rather than, you know, I'll work with whatever you want to do, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think there's a lot that could be pulled from that, and then maybe just reframe it a little bit, you know, like, you know, one of the things I am very proud of is the fact that my clients do embrace the components of the program because, you know, that is what makes a difference. Do you feel like you're in a place that you are ready for that? Because
Yeah,
if
that's
not, this might not be the right time for you for this program.
I like that. Just that subtle shift in what you say is so powerful. So helpful.
And nobody wants to be told that this may not be the right thing for you.
Yeah. Just like, I have to ask the question, is this something you're going to be able to commit to? And if they give you the song and dance, you know what I mean? But it just again, I think it's just got to be in a way that people don't feel that we're telling them what to do or whatever, and they're going to stay in that silo of no thanks, you know. Yeah. All right, well, good stuff. It's getting late, so I will see you guys Thursday. Time for you if you can make it. All right. Good call tonight. Bye.
Bye.